Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Suter and we're back with STEM with the Science Lady. And today we're talking about external animal parts. Okay, so there are some materials you will need for our investigation. And if you're wanting to pick these up, a bag of them from the board office, be sure that you stop by and talk to the secretary at the front desk. But one thing you're going to need is you're going to need some rice. Okay, and it's not cooked rice, it's just plain white rice or brown rice, it doesn't really matter. Okay, you need some rubber bands and you need some mini marshmallows, and it doesn't matter what color or they are, what flavor. Okay, you're also going to need a toothpick, okay, a spoon, a pair of tweezers. Now my tweezers are very large, but it doesn't matter about the size of the tweezers, and a cup. So these are the things that we're going to be using in our investigation today, and we're going to be observing about external animal parts. All right, so I'm going to start off by sharing the lesson with you. And here you can see our spider. Okay, so at the top you can see the words external animal parts. The word external right here means outside. So these would be the parts of the body you can see on the outside of him. So if I look at the external body parts, I see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs. So here's his legs. We see his antenna right here. Here's his head. You see his eyes here and here. Okay, back here, this is what we call his abdomen. And then back here we have his thorax. So these would be the external body parts you see. You can even see some hair on him. That would be an external part because it's on the outside. Now, animals also have what we call internal body parts. These would be things that you find on the inside of them. So they aren't things you would see on the outside of him. They would be like things like your heart or your lungs or the blood. Those would be your internal animal parts. So today we're only talking about the parts on the outside of the animal's body, so external animal parts. All right, so let's take a look at this bird right here. Okay, does anybody know what kind of bird that is? Well, this bird is very special because of its mouth, or we call its beak right here. So look at that beak. Do you know what kind of bird this is based on looking at its beak? Okay, yeah, that's right. This is a pelican. And a pelican is a special bird, and it's mostly known for its very specialized beak. Notice how large that it is. What would you think that it would use that for? Why would that be helpful for the pelican to have a beak or a mouth like that? Well, that's right. It's a very good way to scoop up water, and then in that water it might catch some fish. So this mouth is very good, or this beak is very good for the animal to catch what it eats, which is fish. All right, so we're going to talk about other types of beaks, especially with birds or animals with a beak, and we're going to talk about why do they have the different kind of beaks that they do. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create a little bird food mixture on our plate, and we're going to use the rubber bands, the rice, and the mini marshmallows to do that. And then we're going to use 3 different tools to try to get the food off the plate. The first thing we're going to use is our plastic spoon. It could be a regular spoon, it doesn't have to be plastic, but we're going to use a spoon. Then the next time we're going to use toothpick. And then the third time, we're going to use our tweezers. Now, we're going to give ourselves 30 seconds each time that we pick up things off the plate. We can't use our fingers other than with the tools. And we're going to place what we can get off of the plate into our cup. Okay. Then afterwards, we're going to count and see how much of each kind of food we were able to get off the plate using the tools that we have in front of us. Okay, so you can't use your hands to scoop. You can only use the tools that we have. All right, so I'm going to set a timer. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our spoon. Now, you're going to want to keep notes on what you collected. So here in your packet is the data sheet. So you're going to be recording how many pieces of rice you were able to pick up with the spoon, how many rubber bands, and then how many mini marshmallows. Then we're going to use the toothpick and do the same thing and record our data on the table here. And then we're going to see what we learn from this information from this data. Okay. All right, so we're going to set our timer for 30 seconds, and we're going to start with the spoon. So I'm going to set my timer for 30 seconds. I'm going to use the spoon, only the spoon, to pick up what I can and put it in the cup. Okay, so get your spoon ready. Okay, on your mark, get set, and here we go. Down to 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now what we're going to do now is I want you to, you can pour your contents of your cup onto the surface in front of you, but not back on your plate. And then we're going to do some counting and figure out how many of each kind of food that we were able to gather up with just the spoon. So I'm going to organize mine on the table so that I have my rice in a pile, my marshmallows in a pile, my rubber bands in a pile, and then I'm going to count them and record them on my data sheet. So as I'm doing that, I would like you to do that also. And then when you're ready, you can hit or pause on the video, add up or figure out all of your pieces. Then when you're ready to move on, go ahead and hit play again. And then we will continue from there talking about our pieces. Okay, so you record and I'll record. Okay, now I have mine. If you're not ready yet, then you can go ahead and keep pause until you get yours added or counted. Now, once you get it all counted and recorded on your sheet, you're going to just put all your materials back on your plate. And I'm going to shake it up there, and we're going to look at what I've collected. So I was able to collect 68 pieces of rice, 5 rubber bands, and 13 mini marshmallows with my spoon. Okay, so now I'm going to put that to the side, and we're going to use our next tool to see what we can gather up. So this time we're going to use our toothpick, and I'm going to use my toothpick only to get things and put them in the cup. All right, we're going to still have our 30 seconds, and so we're going to set that timer for 30 seconds, and then when you're ready, you're going to go ahead, when I say start, you're going to go ahead and start collecting with just your toothpick. Okay, ready, go. Okay, we're down to 8 seconds. And stop. All right, so let's take a look at what we were able to collect with our toothpick. I'm going to put my plate to the side, my toothpick to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and pour out my contents of my cup here. And Wow, it shouldn't be too hard for me to count the rice this time. So I want you to go ahead and count what you have collected and record it on your data sheet. Okay, so for me, I only got 1 piece of rice. I got 8 mini marshmallows. I got a bunch of rubber bands this time. Well, I got 6 rubber bands. Okay, so I'm going to put that back on my plate now that I've got it counted. If you need more time, just pause the video. And when you're ready to go on, you can just hit play. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time I'm going to use my tweezers. Now, different tweezers might give us different results, so you just get your tweezers. We're going to set our timer for 30 seconds again. Then I want you to do the same thing we did before and put your ingredients in the cup. All right, I'm going to get my timer ready and begin. Ten seconds. 8. Keep an eye on your timer. 3 seconds left. And all right, so let's go back and take a look at what we were able to collect. Again, I'm going to put my plate off to the side because I'm done with that for now, and I'm going to dump out what I was able to gather. Well, this time I didn't get any rice at all. Now my tweezers are fairly large, so trying to gather up the rice with my tweezers was next to impossible. So I didn't get any rice. I got all the rubber bands I put on my plate, and that was 7. Then count my marshmallows. All right, so now we're going to look at the data that we have. So on my data sheet, I can see that with the plastic spoon, I was able to collect 68 pieces of rice. So this right here was the best way for me to gather up the rice. Okay. For rubber bands, I can see that the tweezers was the easiest way for me to collect rubber bands. And the tweezers were also the best way for me to collect the mini marshmallows. Now, using the toothpick, I had pretty good luck with the rubber bands, not as much with the marshmallows, and only 1 piece of rice. And I think it's because that piece of rice stuck to one of my mini marshmallows. So I can see here that the plastic spoon was definitely better for me to collect the rice. And the toothpick looks like it did pretty well with the mini marshmallows, and then my tweezers was best with my rubber bands. Now, each of these types of things that we had on our plate represent different kinds of foods that a bird would eat. So my rice, in small pieces of rice, represents things like bird seed or maybe some small bugs. Okay. My rubber bands, what do you think these would represent? Something that a bird eats. Yeah, that's right, worms. Okay. And then my marshmallows represent things that would be like a bigger bug, caterpillar, or it could be a berry, like a blackberry or a raspberry, strawberry, something like that. So these are all things that a bird would eat. Worms, berries, bugs, bird seed. Okay, so based upon what the animal eats might also help by the type of beak that he has. So if he has a spoon beak, that might be the best for certain kinds of food like bird seed or fish. But if he has a toothpick bill, bird seed would not be a good thing for him to be eating, right? So birds' external features help them to survive. So let's take a look at some animals that have some of these external features and what makes those features good for that animal. Okay, so we already did our data collection. So as we talked about the spoon beak of the pelican, it's very helpful. It can collect scoopfuls of water, and in those scoopfuls of water, they can catch fish. And you can see here that this allows for that pelican to collect as much fish as possible. Like our spoon and our activity we did earlier, you could see that it collected a lot more quicker. Okay, with the toothpick and the tweezers, I wasn't able to collect as many in the amount of time that we had. So you can see the spoonbill is great for catching big mouthfuls of water and hopefully some fish in that water. Now right here we have a sword-billed hummingbird, and this is more like a toothpick beak. Now it can go into flowers because it has that long thin beak, and it can use its beak as a straw to suck nectar out of the flowers. And it can reach flowers that other animals cannot get into, other birds in particular. So this long pointy beak here allows it to reach in and get the nectar out of this flower that other animals may not be able to reach. Then over here we have the oyster catcher, which is a type of a bird that lives near the beach, and it collects things like worms, seaweed, and creatures off of the rocks in the tidal areas. So its toothpick or tweezer, its tweezer beak is really good for picking up those small living things. So we can see that each of these birds has a beak that's designed to help them eat the things that they need in their diet. Okay, well, besides a beak, what other external body features do animals have that help them to survive? So let's start off with beak, and we'll put that on our board. What other kind of things, external body features, does an animal have that helps it to survive? Well, yeah, claws would be one thing that animals have to help it to survive. Oh, and their tail. Tails would be another thing that an animal has to help it to survive. Okay, how about a shell? Like this turtle, I'm looking at him and he has a shell. Maybe that shell helps him to survive. Well, what about other animals that don't have a shell? How about their fur or their skin? Would that help them to survive? How about animals that need to run or hop? How about their legs? Would their legs help them to survive? So you can see there's a lot of external body features that animals have that can help it to survive. So let's look at some of those animals. Here I have a crab, a picture of a crab. Now the crab has a lot of external features that are really great for it to survive. First, it has these claws. Claws are really great for it to catch the food that it needs, and it can pinch things, and it can also use them for protection. Okay, you see that it has a hard shell. We can use the hard shell to protect it from animals that might try to pick it up. It's going to take a tweezer kind of beak to pick up at this crab. You can see that its legs are helping it to crawl on the beach. Okay, it doesn't have any tail, but some animals' tails do help it, and we're going to look at some of those. Okay, let's look at this animal. Here we have a kangaroo. And the kangaroo has some special external features. One, it has these very strong back legs to help it to hop. So that's how it moves quickly. Its tail here helps it to keep its balance. So these are two external features that help the kangaroo to move very quickly. It also has a pouch where it can hold its baby so that when it jumps, the baby stays safe. Now, other animals have different amounts of legs. You have the spider we looked at earlier with 8 legs. While you have other insects that have 6 legs, and then you have dogs, cows, lions, a lot of animals with 4 legs. So these legs can help them move, climb, jump, run, so that they can protect themselves, run away from danger, or to protect themselves from danger by kangaroos can kick things, and when they kick them, they can protect themselves from any animal that's trying to attack it. All right, well, here we have an armadillo, and an armadillo has some features that are also very good to protect itself. One, it has this external shell, and you see those little spines on there? These help the armadillo to protect itself from animals that are trying to attack it. Look at these long claws. The armadillo uses its long claws to dig to find its food, and also they can use them to dig to build a home or a burrow. They can also use the claws to defend themselves. Okay. Other animals use claws too to help them climb trees, like bears and squirrels and raccoons. They use their claws to help them climb trees. Now, the armadillo is also special because it has this shell body, but it can roll up in a ball, and that ball is like an armor to keep that armadillo's inside or its internal organs protected against a predator. Okay, here we have the monkey. The monkey has a great tail. It's called a prehensile tail. And this tail allows it to hold on to a tree so it can use its hands to get its food. It can also allow it to swing from branch to branch so it can move quickly from one place to another. So tails, like we showed you, the kangaroo's tail is great for balance. Other tails are good for like swimming, to fight off predators, for balance, and to use like a hand to hold on to the tree so it can use its hands to get the food. Now, some animals, like a lizard, has a very special tail where if you were to catch the lizard has the ability to let its tail fall off so that it can escape, and then the tail will regrow. So that is a great external feature that would protect the lizard from being captured. Here we have the polar bear, and the polar bear has a great external feature. It's got great fur. The fur allows it to camouflage itself in the snow, but fur can be also used to keep warm. Now, not all animals have fur. We have birds that have feathers, and those feathers help it to fly. And there's also ducks that have feathers, and it has a special oil in there so that the water won't get into their skin and get them cold. Then we have animals that have scales, like fish or snakes, and these scales can help them swim or protect their internal organs. Now, the snakes also use their scales to help them to move, and they're kind of like lots of little legs that help them push off of the ground. And then humans, we have skin, and our skin is soft, but our skin also protects our internal organs as well. All right, then you have animal coverings. Now, the zebra here, see all those stripes? Those stripes, those patterns of stripes on their fur, help it to blend in with other zebras, and this confuses the predator. So the predator, when they're all grouped together like that, can't tell one zebra from another. So they can't tell how many are there, and oftentimes those stripes will confuse the predator so that they cannot distinguish out just one of the animals. Now, we talked about a crab having that hard shell, and a turtle, that shell helps to protect it. That's a great protection, animal covering to protect its organs. Now, a frog uses its skin to breathe. That's why frogs have to stay nice and moist, because they gather up the oxygen from the moisture in their skin to allow it to breathe. So different animals have different coverings, and each of them are for a different purpose. Now, another thing that we don't talk about too much that humans have that make them very special is our opposable thumbs. So our opposable thumbs are on the opposite side of our fingers, and this allows us to open bottles, to use our scissors, to write our name, to grab a cup, lots of different things, open a chip bag. So there's only a couple of animals that have opposable thumbs. We have humans, and you have primates like apes and gorillas, those types of things. So our opposable thumbs are very, very helpful for us. Now, one of the challenges I would like you to try today is I would like you to try to tape your thumb and your forefingers together. Okay, so I'm going to take some tape here, and I am going to tape my thumb and my forefinger together. And that will make it so that I can't use my thumb. Okay, and I'm going to do that on both hands, and I'm going to do it pretty tight so that my thumb won't come out of there. But I will tell you, it makes it a little hard to tape my fingers when I've got some taped. Okay, then I want you to try to do some things without your thumbs. So try to write your name. Try to open a water bottle. Try to open a bag of chips. Try to tie your shoe without having your thumbs. Okay, so try that for a little while and record. What is it difficult now that you don't have use of your thumbs? And then think about, how are your opposable thumbs, your external body feature, your thumbs, helpful for you to survive? I just think about grabbing this cup. Not as easy when I don't have a thumb. Okay, so I have to kind of keep my thumb and use my fingers. So I want you to try that today and record all the things that are now difficult because you cannot use your thumb. All right? Now, let's see what we've learned today, and let's take our little quiz. All right, so let's start off. I'm going to put the sound on so that you can hear how we're doing. And I want you to just shout out the answers. Okay? So let's try question 1. It says, which of these describes the outer covering of a crab? And our choices are scales, hard shell, feathers, or soft skin. Tell me what you think the answer is. Hard shell. Good. Okay, let's go on to question number 2. Oh, we got our points there. Question number 2. An armadillo uses this external part to dig. What did we say that he used to dig? Was it fur, tail, skin, or claws? Very good, claws. All right, let's go to question 3. Which of these is not an external part? So it's not on the outside external. Would it be eyes, heart, ears, or tail? Very good, the heart. An internal part. Okay, so we're up to question number 4. Question 4 is, what can external parts help an animal do? So let's look at our picture there. Can our external parts help us run, dig, find food, or all of the above? Think about it. Yes, it is all of the above. Very good. Okay, we're up to 3,100 points. Which of these things can legs not do? So, can our legs run, jump, swim, or fly? What can our legs not do? Oh, very good. Our legs help us to fly. Very good. Oh, we got a power up here. We're in 8th place. What's power up? Ooh, time freeze. We can freeze the time, and that helps us get more points. All right, let's put our time freeze activate. Claws can be used to help some animals. What? Now look at our picture. What did the claws help this koala bear do? Climb trees, sleep, swim, or breathe? Very good. It's climb. A lot of points in that one. We're up to 3rd place now. Number 7. What do you call a part that is on the outside of an animal? We use the spider to talk about this. Is it an internal part, a party, a particle, or an external part? We're talking about outside of the animal. Very external part. Okay, number 8. This external part of a frog helps it to breathe. Was it the skin, the legs, the eyes, or the tail? Very good, it was the skin. Okay, we're in 1st place now. Let's see, 2 more questions. A monkey uses this animal part to help it hang from a tree. And look at the picture to see. Does it use its tail, its fur, its nose, or its eyes? All right, good. All right, 1 question left. And here it is. Let's see if we can stay in 1st place. The outer covering of birds is made of what? Is it feathers, metal, scales, or fur? Look at the bird. Good, it's feathers. It looks like fur because the feathers are kind of hairy. And it is feathers. Good job. We ended up in 1st place. Good job. All right. Well, I want you today to spend an hour or maybe half an hour with your thumbs taped to your fingers. And I want you to write down all the different things that you cannot do or is difficult to do without your external feature of your opposable thumb. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something about beaks and birds today and different animals. And I will see you next week, Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and we'll see what we're going to be learning then. All right, talk to you later. Bye.